This is the story of Everyman by Anonymous. God says no one's serving him properly, so he calls in death. God is angry with mankind for embracing the 7 sins. God says that people are unkind to him and that they live without dread and worldly prosperity, and they seek worldly riches. He is angry that every man has been repeatedly boneheaded and sinful, so he sends death to tell every man that he has to come to Judgment Day. God tells death to deliver this message to every man. Bring all those living in sin before me for a reckoning. They must come to Judgment Day, and if he leaves the people alone, they will become worse than the beast. Every man must bring me a sure reckoning, and must take upon him a pilgrimage. Death goes to every man to deliver God's message as a mighty messenger. Death says, now, on this journey, you must take your book of contents, and every man tries to bribe Death with money, hoping to stall the journey. And every man makes one request of Death, which is for Death to help him find someone to accompany him on this journey. Death leaves, and Fellowship enters. Fellowship says he won't betray every man when he asks, and every man tells Fellowship about the journey, and then Fellowship backs out. Fellowship leaves, and Kindred and Cousin enter. Every man tells them about the journey, hoping that familial bonds will prove stronger than those of Fellowship. But despite them professing their love and support of every man, they abandon him in the time of his greatest need. Kindred and Cousin both leave, and every man turns to Good and Riches. Good hears every man and offers to help him, until he is asked to go on the journey to highest judge of all. Good refuses. Every man tells them that money is supposed to right all wrongs. Goods disagrees with him. If every man takes goods with him, he will be the worst off for it, for worldly goods are not given, only lent. After refusing to go, they leave, and every man turns to Good Deeds, since no one else will accompany him. Every man tells Good Deeds about the journey, and Good Deeds says he is too weak to accompany him. So every man finds Knowledge, and she says she will go with him until Good Deeds regains the strength. So Knowledge and every man start the journey to confession, and she will not go with him into the presence of his Maker. Only Good Deeds stays with every man until the end.
Knowledge takes every man to see confession. Every man asks confession to help clear him of his sins so he can go to God in right mind. Confession says that since Knowledge brought every man to him, he will help comfort him and clear him of his sins. Confession says that every man must ask for forgiveness, so every man does, and he scourges himself. Because of this, Good Deeds regains strength and rises from the ground. Good Deeds says, since he can walk, he will help every man go and declare the good deeds he has done to God. Beauty, strength, discretion, and 5 rinse. They all say that they will go and help advise every man on his journey and stand by him in distress. Knowledge tells every man to go to the priesthood to receive holy sacrament. Knowledge says that if the priests are good, then their people will be good. But if the priests are sinners, then that will give sinners bad examples. After Knowledge's speech, every man exits to receive the sacrament. After every man comes back from receiving sacrament, he asked each of the things in his company to lay their hands upon the cross and to go before him. Strength, discretion, and knowledge promise to never depart from him until the voyage is done. They go to every man's grave, and as every man dies, beauty, strength, discretion, and 5 writs forsake him. Every man thinks that everyone has forsaken him except for Good Deeds. Good Deeds says he will not forsake thee. Every man then realizes it is time for him to go make his reckoning and pay spiritual debts. Every man commits soul into the Lord's hands, and along with Good Deeds disappears into the grave. Angel appears to get every man's book of reckoning and his soul. At the end there is an epilogue that the doctor speaks about how beauty, 5 writs, strength, and discretion will forsake you, but Good Deeds will always be there.